Hello, I'm Carolyn Blacksotier, and welcome to Kaleidoscope, your guide to the arts in Harford County. The arts unify communities. And here on Kaleidoscope, we keep you up to date on the county art scene, highlighting local artists and organizers who are working to bring all of us together, making Harford County a better place to live and thrive. So, let's get started. Arts for Learning Maryland, formerly known as Young Audiences of Maryland, transforms the lives and education of our youth through the arts by connecting educators, professional artists, and communities. Joining me with all the details on their recent name change and the positive impact they're having in Harford County schools is Jessica Hebron, Chief Program Officer of Arts for Learning Maryland. Good to see you and meet you.
Well, thanks for having me here in happening Harford County.
Yeah, well, Harford County, as you know, so many of the residents of Harford County love the arts and really cherish what it means to their children and to the community at large. So we're really excited you're actually here in Harford County. Now, I have known Young Audiences of Maryland for a long, long time. So this is a switch, this new name. Can you tell me why, what was the impetus behind the change?
We are so excited for our new name. You know, 'tis the season for the season of change.
Yes.
And our Arts for Learning Maryland is our new name. And originally we were called Young Audiences of Maryland, and we had that name for 70 years, so over 70 years. So I do think it was time for us to have a change. But the reason that we changed our name was because we wanted to make sure that it encompassed all the new programs that we were doing. So a lot of people know about us from doing assemblies and workshops, and we do more than that. And so we had 70 plus years of doing those types of programs, but we also do so much more. And we want to make sure that people understood that not only do we have performances, but we have assemblies, workshops, residencies, professional developments for teachers, and all of these things are centered around arts integration and embedded arts integration inside the classroom.
Right.
So now when you hear Young Audiences, it's not just about our Arts for Learning. It's not just about what we do in the past, but also where we're going, which is lots of embedded professional developments and arts integrated experiences that are customized and that reach our babies in early learning all the way to our children and our students in high school and our teachers as well.
Well, it's interesting because arts can really be used to teach very important educational skills, correct? Yeah.
Yes.
Most definitely. And Arts for Learning really puts that out there now.
Yes.
So that's terrific. So let's talk a little bit about these new kinds of programs. So you say there are residencies, you named a couple different things. Can you give me some more specific examples of how that can work?
Oh, yes. So I want you to walk with me to your favorite Harford County elementary, middle, or high school, you know, and I want you to walk down the classroom and think about, you hear some music coming out of the classroom. You're a musician, so you know, you're hearing this music, but it's not coming from the music classroom. It's actually coming from the math class. And the students are learning about how to create fractions through music. And then you go down to another class, and maybe it's the English classroom or a storytelling classroom. And instead of just seeing students reading about a story or learning about history, they're actually painting and illustrating the stories.
So you really reach all the students' senses. You do it, right? Which is incredibly important. I know that there's a lot of visual art where then the students, you know, can make big murals or display their art like we're seeing there. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yes, and these murals and illustrations and even digital media that the students are really learning about and getting to work with our amazing roster artists. We have the best artists in the state of Maryland, just throughout the state of Maryland, that are really, really not just invested in their craft, but making sure that they can teach it to children in a way that children can learn it, connect to it, and not just connect to their own creativity, but also connect to the curriculum.
Right.
So
another reason I think organization is so important is a lot of schools have had cutbacks in their arts programming, right? So you're there to help fill that void, that very important void.
Yes, very solution-based, because see, we believe that the arts are not just like a something on the side or something that you just do for fun. We believe in arts integration and arts for learning. That's why we're called Arts for Learning, because we believe that it's infused, it's embedded, it's a part of everything that our children, we want them to experience. And so all of the experiences that we have, they connect to the curriculum, but they're really, really based on making sure that the arts are a part of everything that the children experience and that the teachers do too. And so that's one thing that we've been, and we've been able to do that in Harford County. We actually started some of our arts integrated programming. We piloted it right here in Harford County.
That's exciting. Well, I was going to ask you, because obviously you can bring in artists and everything, but you want to connect that also with the teachers who are right there at the school. So they're learning a lot too, right?
Yes, our Arts for Learning Days are our embedded professional development that help the teachers to figure out, to pair with an artist, to co-teach lessons, to figure out how do we take this school or our classrooms and totally make it an arts integrated experience. And those programs are really exciting because the teachers and the artists are working together to create really, really exciting lessons for the students that really connect the curriculum to the arts.
Yeah, I think it makes all that, a lot of the early learning, but even later learning things more fun and palatable for some students because you make it fun, you make it multi-sensory. I mean, it really makes a lot of sense in all levels. So I want to ask you now, with COVID, you can't ignore that. How difficult, or what are the challenges, or maybe you've been able to figure a way to bring in artists to the schools and to work with students? How does that work in these COVID times?
Well, one of the things that I was really excited to just really discover is that over the past 5 years, Arts for Learning Maryland has actually served over 35,000 students in Hartford County through over 450 performances and arts integrated workshops. So that's the first thing. That's just something to celebrate that, the arts are alive and well in Hartford County.
Yes, they are.
But we actually have, and we're continuing to do this, programs can be booked right now that can be, virtual programs or in person. So the pandemic has not stopped us. You can have really exciting and engaging virtual programs for all of the different things: assemblies, workshops, residencies, professional developments, or they can be in person depending on what the school allows. And the other good thing about it is that it doesn't matter. We even have asynchronous programming, like our Arts and Learning Kids TV show, that can be programs that come into the classroom that are aligned with the curriculum in the order that it goes, to really, really help to bring that learning and to bring the artists into the classroom in a way that meets the school standards or restrictions, depending on where we are.
Yeah, well, you all sound very busy. I'm sure the folks who are watching want to know more about this, want to say, look, I want them to come to my school or to my program. So how do they get in touch with you?
Okay, so here's the thing that I love. We believe that we don't want there to be any barriers to keep children getting connected to the arts. So we have grants. We've got all kinds of grants: rural access grants, Maryland State Arts Council grants, and even the Hartford County Cultural Arts Board has grants that can bring these students and cover up to 50% or more of the cost of the programs. You can visit www.artsforlearningmd.org right there, and we put it up on the screen too. Well, Jessica Hepburn, you sound like a very busy, very enthusiastic supporter of the arts, and all that Arts for Learning Maryland has been doing for the last 70 years is so, I'm so grateful for, as I know many folks are, and we wish you continued success. Thanks so much for being here. Thank you.
Benny Russell is a renowned musician and recording artist. His long and successful career includes composing, arranging, and performing with music greats such as Harry Belafonte, Dan Aykroyd, Little Jimmy Scott, Lou Reed, Etta James, and more. We had front row seats at his evening of jazz performance this summer at the Liriodendron, so couldn't be there? Well, get ready to jam as we shine a light on Benny Russell.
A band leader, a composer, a performer, a musician, a teacher. I'm all of those. I'm also a father, I'm a husband, I'm a son. So people have these multifacets of themselves, and I have, these multifacets of me. I would describe jazz as a party. And you're bringing cornbread, and you're bringing potatoes and gravy, and you're bringing biscuits, and you're bringing greens, and you're bringing stuff. And you sit there and you eat, and you have fun, and you make merry, and you laugh, and you cry, and you do all of those things. Jazz is like life. It is an American music that was born in New Orleans, and it is a music that involves improvisation. It was Southern slaves that played violin, guitar, piano, and whatever. They did read music, but people did not want to see black people reading music. So many times they had to improvise. They were forced to improvise, and it's like, sure, I'll improvise. So they improvised, and the music stayed. There was a gentleman who played for Duke Ellington a while ago, and we were waiting to see Miles Davis. We got off the road with Duke, and this white band called me, and it paid $100, and I was like, sure, I'll do it. And they told him, now to take this gig, you're on the gig, but to take the gig, you have to memorize all of the music, because they don't want to see black people reading music. If you don't do it, then we'll all lose the gig. And that was customary for black people playing in white bands. You know, it's like, well, you're gonna have to memorize the book. And I mean, these books were that thick. And they had to memorize the music. It's global. It's international. There are Japanese jazz players. There are Afghani jazz musicians. There are Iraqi jazz musicians. There are African jazz musicians from all parts of Africa. The European, Jan Hammer, was a jazz musician, and just on and on and on. I am a saxophonist. I am a composer. And I am just me.
Look for a special Shine a Light feature during every Kaleidoscope program. Now, when we return, Alan Fair and Ezra Berger from the Harmerstown Art Center will be here with information on this first-of-its-kind regional art facility coming to Havre de Grace. Stay tuned. Maryland State Arts Council relies on a diverse array of experts from across the state to serve as paid panelists, editors, jurors, judges, and coaches. For current opportunities, visit marylandarts.smartsimple.com. Harmerstown Arts Center will bring together the arts, history, and community of Haverty Grace in a centralized location within the heart of the city's vibrant arts district. With me on the program to talk about this exciting project and how you can get involved are Alan Fair, president of Harmerstown Arts Center, and Ezra Berger, muralist. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I have had the benefit of talking to you both a little bit before coming on camera here, and I am so excited about this. I mean, the people in Haverty Grace are so lucky, Harford County, and I don't live in Haverty Grace, but I'm going to make sure that I get to the Harmerstown Arts Center in Haverty Grace. Tell me, first of all, how did you come up with the name of Harmerstown?
Well, it kind of evolved. Started with Grow Alley, and then as things were going along, we decided that make the whole building, and which would be an art center. And as a board, we decided Harmerstown. And
not Haverty Grace. Why Harmerstown?
Because Haverty Grace was Harmerstown before Haverty Grace.
Okay, and how did it get the name Harmer? Where does that come from?
Well, there was a family that was given the land from England or whoever, and lived there with their family, and then sold part of it all, from what I understand, and eventually it was named Haverty Grace by Lafayette.
Okay, so you're kind of you're the person driving this whole thing, but Ezra, I know that you've worked a lot with Alan on different projects, and it was your murals that kind of helped inspire this whole concept, am I right?
Yeah, Alan wanted to obviously do something with the arts, but he wanted to have the historical theme that went through everything, and we just kind of went around and tried to tell our stories visually, and not try to sugarcoat things, or we wanted to talk about some things that maybe weren't in the history books as much.
Right, and so they become great conversation pieces, right? You're in downtown Haverty Grace, and you see this mural, and it gets you talking. I mean, you've said you've been down there, and you'll hear people's remarks. Like there's a wonderful example of some of the murals right there.
Right.
So where's that located exactly now?
That's off of Market Street, and the closest cross street is Bourbon, and this is Graw Alley. Alan has a future plan to turn this into a family park with gardens, tables, and chairs. It's lit beautifully at night, and it'll be a event space to listen to bands or hang out with your family, or yoga, whatever.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I mean, what a great backdrop, because typically, you know, you're just looking at what, cinder block walls or old, you know, just nothing, right?
Ugly walls.
Yeah. So that's just one of the projects. Now, is this part of Harmerstown Arts Center, or is this a separate project that you've done?
Well, it was the first project before Harmerstown evolved. And so once we got going, and then I've got some other people involved as friends, and became board members, and we wanted a name, and we wanted to be a nonprofit, so we come up the name with Harmerstown, and now we're a 501c3.
Right.
We are a nonprofit, yeah.
Okay, so you're talking about a big building, what, 31,000 square feet?
31,000 square feet.
Okay,
yeah.
What's going to be in that building? Tell me a little bit.
Oh, there's going to be art studios, there'll be all kinds of studios. There'll be a wood shop, metal shop, kilts,
Wow.
jewelry. It could be anything to do with art. There'll be
Gallery space,
probably up to 25 to 30.
Wow.
There'll be a classroom, several classrooms. There'll be a store where the artists can sell their goods, and people can buy gifts. And there also will be the Haverty Grace Museum.
Oh, wow. So you're really bringing everybody in. It takes a village, right? You're bringing all the different folks in. And then also, I understand there's going to be some apartments then, so it's kind of a mixed-use building as well.
It is. There's 7 apartments that are upstairs, and they're staying.
Yeah.
But everything else will leave when it becomes totally Harmerstown Arts Center.
So Ezra, what role are you playing then in the Harmerstown Arts Center? Because we know what you did previously with the alley?
Yeah, I'm kind of there for whatever labor really needs to be done to help the process along. If demolition on the interior of the building I've done, but usually it's just mostly focusing in on the arts and the overall aesthetic of what Alan wants the place to feel like.
Right,
yeah.
right.
So right now we're just mostly trying to turn an old dilapidated alley into a fun, energetic space that people are talking about and excited about. So.
Well, there we're looking at another example, and I see a horse and racing. Can you tell me about that a little bit? What either Ezra or Alan? I know you both can speak to this.
I'll tell you, there's Alan there. These processes just kind of are a collaboration between Alan and I, and as it was happening, I remember compositionally, it was off to the left, and then all of a sudden Alan will come along and say, hey, we had 4 jockeys that were brothers, the Mergler brothers, and it needs to go off here to the right. So the whole time Alan and I are just kind of kicking ideas back and forth, and it's been fun.
And that was Seabiscuit. I know that name.
Well, on the other side is Citation. Now, Seabiscuit was there in '38, so I didn't see that. But I did see Citation actually run on a Monday, and on a Saturday, the Chesapeake Stakes lost to Saggy, the first race he lost.
Oh, my.
Come back. Saggy was a fast, short race, half miler.
Yeah.
Citation was a miler, so it took him a little while to get going. Yeah. But then on Saturday, the Chesapeake Stakes, he just left everybody behind and went from there to win the Triple Crown.
Wow. So again, this is an example of a mural telling a whole history to Harford County that people may not know about, right?
Exactly.
It's a history lesson just being there.
And visually just
Alan's lived that time period, and he it was something very special to him as a young man, and I kind of got to learn it through his, his storytelling and
enthusiasm for it all.
Can't tell you all my stories.
No, we need more than a half, 8 minutes. But we've put up the website, harmerstown.org. I know, Alan, you do a lot. You're sort of a one-man band, but as we said, it kind of takes a village and more to do this. So if people want to get involved, how can they?
They can go to the website and see what we're doing and contact us. Volunteer for different jobs we might have.
Yeah.
And of course we can always use money. We're in for grants, and hopefully going to get the grants. And the county, we're looking forward to county helping, which I know they will.
Corporate sponsors.
Corporate sponsors, and so that'll move it along quicker, really.
I bet it will, because I know you said 2 to 3 years, worst case scenario, you want this to happen now, so.
I'd like to see it happen in a year.
Okay, there you go. He's up the ante. All right, well, I want to thank you both, and great congratulations and gratitude for all that you're doing for the arts here in Haverty Grace and for Harford County and the region. Thank you so much.
Well, come see us.
Okay, I will. I will. And there's more to come on Kaleidoscope, so don't go away. We'll be right back. Arts advocates, please save the date of Thursday, February 17th to preserve Maryland State Budget arts funding at Maryland Arts Day. Welcome back to Kaleidoscope. As the government-appointed local arts agency, the Harford County Cultural Arts Board is the premier local resource for arts organizations, for artists, and for you, our county residents. The board's mission is to preserve, enhance, and promote the culture of Harford County, Maryland. The Harford County Cultural Arts Board proudly announces exciting updates to the Arts and Education Grant Program. Grants awarded for activities through June 30th can support 100% of the cost of arts and education programs for in-person and virtual audiences, whether artists are brought on site for small group learning or large-scale performances, or audiences that travel to Maryland and Washington, D.C.'s museums or arts performances. Arts and education grants may be used to support high-quality arts experiences for underserved audiences of any age. Updated program changes now invite applications from government and community-based nonprofits, as well as public and private schools and after-school programs. Go online or contact the Harford County Cultural Arts Board to learn more about this program, designed to provide equitable access to lifelong learning and the arts for our community. And that wraps up today's program. Thank you for watching Kaleidoscope, produced in partnership with the Cultural Arts Board of Harford County and aired exclusively on Harford TV. A reminder to celebrate the season by enjoying and supporting the arts. Treat yourself to one of the many concerts, performances, galas, or exhibits during the holidays. There is truly something for everyone. From all of us here at Kaleidoscope, happy holidays. I'm Carolyn Black-Sotier.